I'd like to call this school committee meeting number 1704 of the Southern Berkshire Regional School District to order. It is about 5:02. Before we get started, I have just a very brief statement. Did you know today the Southern Berkshire Regional School District celebrates its 73rd
Can you start again?
birthday? Again?
I realize, I apologize. Can you start the meeting back over? Now recording and everyone.
Right from the very beginning.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Great, okay. I'll try this, take 3.
Bonnie's on her way in.
Okay, good. I'll call this meeting of the Southern Berkshire Regional School District School Committee meeting 1704 to order. It's about 5:02 p.m. Today marks our school district's 73rd birthday. I was looking at the regional agreement recently and realized May 28, 1953, and of course today is May 28th. So we are having a birthday party today in all kinds of crazy, crazy ways. While things have not always gone smoothly, I'd like to personally suggest that the recent months, weeks, and especially these last 10 or so days are among some of our most difficult times. And yet, despite school committee and budget turmoil, our students thrive under the instruction of our dedicated and talented teachers and staff, as witnessed through the myriad of year-end events, including the Teaching and Learning celebration that begins at 6 p.m. tonight. In planning tonight's agenda, I chose to put one public comment period at the end, as I learned new information would be shared that I trust many will find to be hopeful and may add a bit of calm to a horribly difficult situation. That is not to downplay the difficult emotional impact of the recent days that so many, including myself, have endured, nor is it the intent to try to silence anyone's frustration, pain, or opinion. I am grateful for the many calls, emails, and texts received. I apologize that I haven't been as personally responsive as usual. I've also been recovering from surgery during this same period. You will hear back from me, I promise. Tonight's Teaching and Learning celebration showcases the best our students have to offer, which is why we do all this work in the first place, for our students. So I was also trying to balance time constraints so people can also attend this event, which was carefully planned for tonight a few months ago, following this earlier 5 p.m. time slot for school committee before we knew our budget timeline, including the issuance of the reduction in force notices and the understandable responses that would follow. School committee policy states that public comment shall not exceed 15 minutes. I suspect we could be here for hours tonight for public comment only, but we cannot do that. If you wish to speak and you do not get the chance, please send your thoughts to the school committee, to the superintendent. We are paying attention. Also, next week, Wednesday, June 3rd at 6:30, our budget adoption meeting will be held, and that follows our senior awards night at 5 p.m. We will return to the 2 public comment periods that were instituted when I became chair. And at that,
Julie,
Bonnie?
I appreciate every single thing that you just said, but I have to make a motion and see what the will of the school committee is. I move that the school
You need
committee...
to speak up because we really can't hear you. I'm right here.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
And I'm so loud. Okay.
No, you're not.
Well, with all due respect to everything Julie has just said, I am making a motion, given the action that the school committee took a couple of months ago, that we begin with public comment, with everything. Hopefully everyone has heard everything that you have stated about our getting new information. My motion is that we begin with all the restrictions of time, etc., with public comment.
I second. I don't think,
And I third, but can I offer,
I'd like to entertain, we have a motion that to insert public comment at the beginning. It's been seconded and thirded. Is there any other discussion?
Oh, yes, hold on, I have to be recognized, don't I?
Carl?
I heartily approve of that, Ms. Silvers. But would you be willing to amend that? There are an awful lot of people here. If, as the chair said, that public comment is limited to 1 to 15 minutes, my suspicion is that each person who wants to comment may have something like 8 or 9 seconds. So if we observe that 15-minute limit, I suggest that the chair, with all due respect to the people who have taken the time out to come here, who are clearly very interested in the matters that we are going to discuss tonight, and maybe at a future meeting, that the chair
Carl,
said-
you're using up 3 people's time. Get to your amendment.
That's nothing new for me.
Right. I love you dearly, but
Well, thank you.
Carl, you
The
said
feeling
I
is
could get
mutual.
you to focus.
But yeah, can I, let me offer an amendment, that the chair restore the beginning, the first public comment section and the second public comment. Some people may have time constraints here, and that the chair set a maximum limit for public comment at the beginning of this meeting, whether that's 20 minutes or 30 minutes, in her best judgment, and that we go from there. So that at least some people who have time issues and have to leave and do also want to make a comment can get to do that.
so exactly what is the amendment?
The amendment is that, accepting your original motion of having a public comment at the beginning of the meeting, but with a limitation to be set by the chair with a then subsequent vote by the full committee on limiting it so that we don't start our meeting at 8 o'clock.
Correct.
Minimum of 24 and max of 32.
So what if we say that Julie uses her judgment and all, and that people should decide whether they want to speak before or after, because you won't recognize them twice until the other. But how about if we say a maximum total of 25 minutes?
24, because 8 people get 3 minutes each.
Okay.
So it's either going
And
to
I
be
will
24 or
encourage people
27.
to do 2 minutes if
Okay.
possible, to
All
be
right.
succinct.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I'll second that motion as amended.
all right, so the amendment is
Or
that
maybe
the
I'm not
maximum amount of time to be allotted, and the chair will judge that, is 24 minutes.
Minimum. And then she could make it more if she so chooses.
Okay, all right. I'll accept that as a friendly amendment.
Okay, so there is a motion there. Is there any other discussion? All in favor of approving the amendment? Bonnie?
Yes,
Jim? No. Miguel?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Art? And Nancy?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Julie, yes. All right, and in favor of the motion, we'll go around again.
yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
Amy? Yes. Carl?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Nancy? Yes. Okay, we have restored, we will have public comment at the beginning for 24 minutes. So I invite whomever is in the audience to speak. And usually the policy is 3 minutes per person, but given the crowd here tonight, if you can be less,
I'll be less.
That would
Okay.
be
And you might
terrific.
want to turn your timer over when they get up there.
yeah. Amy's my timer. Great, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Connie Gott. I'm the culinary arts teacher here. And I just got a new book out on the table. But I moved to New England from Los Angeles. And when my daughter was in her charter school, in a we thought it was a great school, but yeah, and then we find out there's a half a day a week for a librarian, a half a day a week for a nurse, There were if we did music, parents went into the classroom and did music. And it was all because we just did not have the funds to hire teachers. And I can tell you that if there was a lice outbreak, one kid got lice because we had a nurse for a half a day, 1 day a week, you would have it was like an epidemic. So crucial things like our library and our chorus, which is a huge part of our school district. We have probably one of the best stages in our TAC Pack in the community. I mean, people come here for theater, for chorus, for band, for shows. If we eliminate our chorus teacher, we no longer have theater. How are kids going to get resources if we don't have a librarian to open up the library? We're just going to open up the doors and say, hey, Tuesday, 11 to 2, the library's open, go get a book. They need guidance. Those are such crucial roles as educators. I can't tell you how important it is. I'm not in the elementary school, but small class size. The smallest class in our elementary was 28. And it was not good. It was not good at all. So small classes, it's worth the effort to find the money. I don't know how we find it, but it really is worth the effort. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. If you hold your applause, it will help our time too as well.
My name is Philip Enoch. I'm a senior here at Mount Everett. I'm going to Williams College next year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Really, I shouldn't care about this. I'm leaving Mount Everett. I'm not going to come back. This isn't my problem. But the truth of the fact is that this problem is too important for me to ignore. To see programs that lifted me up be terminated is sad to see. It's what defines Mount Everett. The teachers are what define Mount Everett, and they're what made me who I am today. I understand that this problem, this budget crisis, is partially inherited by the current administration. I understand that there might not be a perfect solution, but I have to ask, how was this able to be allowed? How did this happen? And how are you guys going to prevent it from happening again? $1.6 million is not a rounding error. Students know that. I'd like to hope that my words are representative of the immense feelings that students are feeling now. And I'd like to express my grievances and the immense dissatisfaction I have with how this is being addressed.
Thank you. Phil.
Hi, my name is Leslie Solis Lopez. Many of you have already seen me here, whether presenting the PNA or simply as a student. I'm in 10th grade. I have siblings here as well as cousins. As a student, I understand it's really upsetting, all of this, and it's difficult to see how these were student-centered decisions. And as a person, I understand that budgeting is something that has to happen. Like Philip said, these aren't rounding errors, but we just want our programs back for these decisions to truly be student-centered. Our arts and a lot of our programs are being cut or shortened, and those are certain parts that make our school the community it is.
I know all of you know me, Marie Kamen Sandusfield, and I am always asked why I care so much about this district, because I don't even live in it. I don't have a student in it. I did. And that's when I began to care. That's why I donate money. That's why I get scholarships. I adore this school. I'm not going to get into how the whole process was handled last week or even today, because I'm very disappointed in the way it was handled. But I'm going to give you all a suggestion, because I've talked to other school committees. Your E&D, you can clearly use at least $800,000 of that. Okay, that's one, that's $800,000. Your capital budget has not been used in, I don't know, a couple of years. You can use that. The other issue is, and I just lost my train of thought because I'm 72, those were two things, and that's a lot of money. I think there was a couple of line items, and you know, I got so tired of the budget that I didn't bother to go through the DESI line by line. But one of the questions off the top of my head was, who is the SRO here? Because there's like $24,000 in that line item. So I think you really need to look at those line items, and I think you really have to rethink your excess and deficiency, your capital. If there's a major emergency over here that, I don't know, requires $400,000 in capital, go back to your towns. That's what other communities do. So I'm just asking to look at that and look at the number of programs, because I don't think you have purview over positions. I'm not quite sure about that. But look at the programs that were cut and reinstate those to the budget. And I'm not going to talk for the rest of the night. Kevin is.
Hi, I'm Andrew Heiss. I just got a call from my friend Jake to let me know about this meeting. And I'm just fresh out of college, so I really don't have any information, honestly, about the exact numbering on the budget or anything. But I am someone who is a music performance and music education major at Bridgewater State University. And just to hear this from my friend Jake was really disheartening as someone who's benefited from the music department a lot. I'll say this, I'm not the most academically interested person. I do my own studies and everything. I'm not going to say I graduated with high honors or anything like that, because I didn't. But just thinking about the process and the effort that the music department has gone through over the years with Miss English and, you know, the former choral director, Mr. Clark. I just think that these opportunities give a chance for kids to lean on something more than just their notebooks and their textbooks. And while it is important for, you know, education and all the STEMs to be taught in school, I do think that there is a place for music, as these environments give the ability for kids to express more than singular emotions that we experience while just reciting textbook lines. So I don't really know how it could be managed at this point or anything, but I just, you know, as someone who is hoping to be a music teacher myself, I just hope you guys will at least reconsider in the most opportune ways possible, both for the school and for the students. Thank you.
I'm really glad to follow that young man because, first of all, my name is Brian Farrell. I'm a homeowner in Egremont for the past 8 years. Long ago, I was in my high school years, and I know it's easy to think of music. The music program is an extracurricular hobby, but as you just heard, it's far more than that. My personal history, I was not a straight A student. I was not a varsity athlete, but I loved to sing, and I sang for 4 years, and that led eventually, it was the first step in my journey to a performing career as my first career, which lasted for 20 years. And I'm not the only one. You've probably read about Ali Louis Bourget. He graduated from Pittsfield High School about 8 years ago. He's on Broadway in his second Broadway show. He's nominated for a Tony Award. That's a young man who has a future. He's living his future. So a music program can change a child's life.
Hello, I am Matthew Thompson, the 10th grade student representative of the class of 2028. And as a student representative, I believe I do represent my entire class when I say that I am worried about what the future of our school is going to look like. As has been stated by most people who've been up here before me, as the students, we have an emotional connection to our teachers, and it pains us to see them leave. Before the choir concert that happened recently, Miss Caruso, our chorus teacher, had to tell us that she was no longer going to be with us. And in the heat of that, and many students ended up performing on stage, crying their eyes out because they were unable to see this chorus teacher next year who they have built such an emotional connection with. So I understand this budget is in a bit of a crisis right now. However, I want to request that whatever you do for the students, because we really need this to be a better future for us. I want to make sure we're soaring like the eagles we claim to be. Thank you.
I first want to thank everybody that's here. It's so great to see so many people in person and online. My name's Kevin Fish. I'm a parent of 3 fourth graders here. And since my kids started at Southern Berkshire 5 years ago, I have put my heart and soul into this district. I've helped raise more than $80,000 while my kids were at New Marlboro Central. I advocated against the merger because I believed in protecting what makes our schools special. Most recently, I have tried to identify and share reductions that I believe could help the loss of our teachers and staff. I say that because I care deeply about this district and I want it to succeed. Over the past couple of months, I've heard several times that this will likely be a recurring problem because the district is so expensive to operate. If that is true, then this cannot be treated as a one-year issue. This should have been a moment to pause, look at the bigger picture, and take the steps needed to stabilize what increasingly feels like an untenable situation. I still do not understand why the school committee chose to cap overall town assessments at 6% based on what it believed the towns might accept before developing a budget that reflected the district's actual needs. In my view, the district should have first built a budget that trimmed unnecessary expenses, preserved existing teachers and staff, filled critical vacancies, addressed capital needs, and if possible, left a reasonable surplus to help carry the district into FY28. That would have shown the towns what it would take to build a financially sound and sustainable school district. They could have then voted on the budget with the full picture in front of them. Instead, the cap came first, the cuts followed, and now families, teachers, staff, and students are being asked to live with the consequences. If I were in your shoes, my guiding principle would be simple. Is this in the best interest of our students? Is it in the best interest of our students to cap assessments before developing a budget that reflects the district's actual needs? Is it in the best interest of our students to cut elementary art, chorus, PE teachers, and student-facing staff before exhausting every non-instructional alternative? Is it in the best interest of our students to preserve administrative positions while reducing the people and programs students experience every day? Is it in the best interest of our students to let grandstanding, unwillingness to compromise, vindictiveness, or the need to prove a point interfere with thoughtful decision-making and leadership? Questions like this are what should guide this process, not personalities, not politics, not who wins an argument. The students, always the students. What worries me most is not just the cuts themselves, but the lack of a clear long-term sustainable plan. If we know the district is expensive to operate and that this may happen again, then we need earlier budget development, clear financial reporting, and consistent oversight, which we are all well aware of, not to mention honest conversations with the towns about sustainability.
Kevin, 30 seconds.
All right, most importantly, we need a process to begin with protecting students, teachers, staff, and programs, not one that reaches for them first when numbers do not work. The future of the district is in the hands of everyone seated at this table, and this is a heavy responsibility. Please meet this moment with the seriousness, compassion, and leadership our students deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for your succinct and very clear and well thought out thoughts on the facts of this matter. My name is Jake Martin. I'm an Egremont resident. I'm also an alumni of Mount Everett. I'm also the friend who got Andrew to be here. The Mount Everett Choir Program remains a fixture in my memory, excuse me, of my primary and secondary education. Mr. Clark was my choir teacher during my time at Mount Everett, and he never failed to check my ego with his remarkable wit. He also never failed to present the numerous choral opportunities that were available to me and my peers. Yes, he would run an a cappella group 4 days a week before school, and of course he would prepare us for the wonderful concerts each semester, but he also would personally drive me and my peers to numerous Western District auditions and rehearsals every year, drove me to Boston multiple times a year for state choir auditions and rehearsals, and he personally attended every single one of those concerts. That is the dedication that teachers at Mount Everett show. That is not Mr. Clark, that is every teacher standing in this room and who comes to this building every day. And I really want to question the conduct of this administration in informing these teachers of this decision and this budget during the school day via email. Mr. Clark also introduced me to the Berkshire Lyric Choir, where I've had the pleasure with singing with Ms. Madeline Caruso. This Sunday, we're going to be performing one of the greatest pieces ever created, the St. Matthew Passion by Bach, at Tanglewood, together. This is an opportunity I wouldn't have if it weren't for my experience in the Mount Everett Choral Program and the Mount Everett Musical Education System. In the visual arts, art is created from the exterior. It's important. In music, it's created from the interior. You're a part of the music. You use your own body to create the music and be a part of it. This is an essential experience for every student. These are the types of experience that enliven students and show them the beauty of music, the beauty of community. These are things that are essential and vital to a primary and secondary education. Music education is not optional. It's not extracurricular. It is vital. These students deserve better, and we all know that. They deserve a proper music education. I simply will not consider sending my kids to a school that does not have a choral program or a robust musical education program. That's the reality. That is simply not an option for me based on my experience at Mount Everett in our musical education program. Madeline Caruso deserves better. Every teacher in this room deserves better. And the current and future students of Mount Everett deserve all these programs. Thank you.
David Roger Sterritt, Sheffield, Massachusetts. I have kids in this district. I care about what happens because it's their future and it's the future of all of our children and the children yet to join the district. I am always glad to see a sincere effort to keep costs minimal. However, this budget increases by nearly 10%, and at the same time, we're talking about a nearly 10% cut into the staffing. I have not seen what seems to be a good justification for such a major budget change. I've heard rumors that there was problems with the prior administration, and that's neither here nor there. The reality is that the school committee has artificially attached itself to a minimal budget increase. And if the costs have gone up, then the costs have gone up, and that needs to be forwarded to the towns. Plus, if oh, that's all. Thank you.
Hi, Jade Madrone, Great Barrington.
I'm Annie Rosenberg from Great Barrington.
Quick numbers game. Our kids choice into this district. I have one that has choiced in so far. I have another on the way. Annie
I have 4.
Just us two have the potential to bring between 60 to 70 grand a year to this district. We choice in for the arts programs, for the small classrooms, for the teachers, those interactions. That 70 grand over the next 13 years will be gone, just from the two of us. If
Yes,
those
it's
programs are
5,000,
like
but
this.
we also have special needs as well that increases that. That's where that's coming from. But I'm not playing budget because it's not my job.
Yeah, just the two of us. So I feel like there's more
Just
budget
for
that
a point
matters. Yeah.
and I just wanted to share, my daughter was getting sick on the way to school every single day. She came and saw Willy Wonka. She school choiced mid-year for your arts program. She said, I want to go to this school. And I said, sure. I sent an email. She started the next available date she could start here. I have 3 other children. I talk up this district left and right. My daughter was the Lion in The Wizard of Oz. I was never more proud of her. This was a kid that was using a vomit bag to get to school from anxiety. So this art program is so important to her, and I just never thought I'd see a day where she comes off the bus crying. And I'm really upset about that, and I just hope that you think of the real students. She comes home thinking, she's asking about her principal, she's asking about Miss English, she's asking about all of the teachers that have changed her life and if they're gonna still be here. And I don't wanna see my kid come home crying, so I'm asking you to think of those kids and all of these kids here who are deeply impacted by it. So I don't have solutions, but I hope you do, and thank you.
Hi, my name is Owen Sickett, and I'm a freshman at Mount Everett. So as a student here, I've had some incredible opportunities in music, in theater, and in the bunch of extracurriculars that we provide. And to see some of these programs that help shape me and others here at R.S.D. Suddenly cut is concerning and also confusing. Our choir director, Ms. Madeline Caruso, is one of those who was unfortunately cut, and she's an example of who our district has to lose. She directs extracurricular choirs in the mornings, such as Madrigal. She manages dozens of students on stage and prepares for concerts. And she voluntarily took me and other students out to Westfield State University to perform at an extracurricular choir. That was not required for her, but she did it anyway. So knowing that her and our program will no longer be here, it's a reminder of who our school has to lose and who's at stake. Most importantly, the students. And students who are going to be affected by this, including me, are concerned. And we really want to know how these are student-centered decisions. So, thank you.
Thank you. Just so you know, we are at the 24-minute, but it looks like there's 1, 2, is there 3 speakers in line? Okay, and we'll cut after that.
Alrighty, sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Hi there, my name is Emmeline Kraus, and I am a rising senior, so I'm in 11th grade this year. But today, I come to you not as Emmeline Kraus, nor as an 11th grader, but as a student who represents all of Mount Everett, I feel. And I'm sorry if my voice is a little shaky, but I'm nervous, I'm distraught, and I feel like I speak for everybody when I say that we are all distraught and we are all scared for what could happen. And I apologize for my voice breaking. But it's really scary because these are countless people who have had extremely meaningful impacts on all of our lives. I will not lie to you when I said, when I joined choir, it was to go to LA. It was for the field trip. But I won't lie to you when I say that. But do you guys know why I stayed? I stayed for the countless friends that I made, for the connection I made to Miss Caruso has had an extremely important role in my life. Who's constantly been there for me regardless, through thick and thin, for things regarding singing, for theater, which, like, I've grown to love theater and singing so much. I used to be ashamed of my voice. I used to be ashamed to see myself on stage to speak in front of people. Now look at me. I'm able to, look at that. I'm crying in front of people, but I'm still here because it means this much to me. When you remove these teachers, these programs, this is not just removing a simple elective here or an elective there. I've heard many people testify to how meaningful the arts can be. As somebody who wants to pursue art, who wants that to be my livelihood, I cannot speak more highly of all of the art programs and every single teacher here in all their unique ways. Miss English is an artist in music. Miss Caruso is an artist in music. We have teachers like Miss Simpson. She's an artist as well. Math is an art. Science is an art. Everything is an art, and we are being stripped of that. This is not just removing simple programs, simple teachers, simple extracurriculars. This is removing the ribs, the heart of our place. The teachers are what make Mount Everett. Without them, what are we? Nothing. And it's really scary to know that that is the future of our school, especially when my little sister right there, Adeline Krause, she has 7 more years here, right? Yeah, 7. So while this may only affect me for 1 year, there are plenty of children who will be affected for quite a substantial amount of their childhood. I just really hope that that is being taken into consideration, and I thank you very much for your time.
Hello, my name is Ryan Meyer. Last time I was at this podium, I was the class president of class of 2016, and it's still just as hard. I'm a little bit different than everyone else. I am a data guy. That's the name that people keep calling me. I do understand numbers. I understand budgets a little bit. It's a little new, but I went line by line, whereas I feel like a lot of people haven't. There's a lot of inconsistencies that were portrayed in that budget that have been shown throughout years of problems. I'm not here to point fingers at the new administration. I'm not here to point fingers at anyone. I'm not saying that I don't want programs to be maintained, everything, but I'm logistical and I know numbers. And if money's paid out in this year, that means money's not paid out next year. So I get that, and I understand there has to be cuts. I understand everything like that. I'm not here to technically fight for that. I think people want to understand where that money went, how that money has been messed up for so long, and I don't want to say point a finger at somebody, but there's somebody in charge that is at fault for this, whether it's over years, whether they're here, whether they're not, and someone needs to take accountability, or we need to at least come to get to the bottom of how this all came to be. I was lucky enough to get some information on the budget and some clarification that made a lot of sense, but the fact that people's salaries are split into different accounts, people's are getting paid out of revolving accounts that have no money in it, so therefore that takes from the budget of the next year. People, and this is all things that I feel like people come up here and they talk about the budget, but if you haven't gone line by line or you don't really know, you're asking for a lot of things when you can't just make money appear. So I understand that. I'm not here to fight for that. I just want to get better clarification. I want to understand the new budget. I want to figure out why the things are messed up and just to fix it in the future. My position was cut. I don't have a red shirt because I'm not a part of a union. I'm not a part of admin. I'm in this little gray area where I'm kind of just all by myself. I'm the one that signs my name on the state reports, and technically I could be the fall guy. But that's because I have to say that this data is correct. All I want to know is someone put their name on it, and I want to have an understanding of why it wasn't caught for the last countless amount of years. Thank you very much.
So my name's Dave. I am an alum. I'm not going to give a story because I just have one question, Some people say they're not pointing fingers. I am, and I want to know how we're dealing with this criminally. And I want an answer. because this is not acceptable. So, that's all I want to know, because this is not acceptable.
This is supposed to be our last one. Okay, last one.
So, just really quickly, I think this is a call to action to everybody who's here as well. The towns don't want a budget over six.
Hold it. I need you to identify yourself.
Ilana
for everybody.
Steinhauer.
Thank you.
Sheffield, I have 2 kids. This district has to get engaged before the budget. We shouldn't cut teachers. Every district is cutting teachers. It's a horrible way to balance a budget. It's not the way to do it. We have to be active in our towns. The towns have said to the school, we don't want that 18%, we don't want the 21%. We looked at that budget, they said they wanted 6%. Nobody showed up to the select board meetings, or there was a budget presentation. I'm not saying this is, there was a budget presentation. The select boards, the finance committees put pressure on this school board. It is our job as residents of these towns to be active with our towns so that when it goes to vote, whether it goes at 18% assessment or 6%, we all show up. We need to be at the state. We need to be advocating for rural aid. We cannot get lazy. We need to stay active. This is unbelievable how many people are here. Don't cut the positions. Give this town time to show the district why they didn't want a merger, why they believe this is a school that they want to thrive. Let the parents, let the constituents, let the non-parents get engaged both at the town level, at the finance committee level, and at the state level, and give a year for this community to stand up for what we believe in. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So out of the 24 minimum, we had 32 minutes of public comment, just for the record. We need to do that. Let's move on to the next agenda item, which is the fiscal year 26 budget update.
And for that, I am going to turn it over to Open Architects, our partner, to share an update both on E&D as well as the projection to finish FY26.
Thanks, Superintendent. So we're happy to report E&D has come back fully certified by the Division of Local Services at.
You have to mention because a lot of new people.
Oh, we have a lot of people here, TJ. Can you just introduce yourself?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
So my name is TJ Plant. I work for Open Architects, which is a company that does data and financial consulting. I've got 25 years of municipal and school and state finance, and we were brought on in December as a partner to try to untangle the web of the budget issues that were happening in southern Berkshire. So we're here, and this is where we're at. It's taken a minute to get DLS to approve our E&D, which is $933,000. I want to point out that it could have been $270,000 more, but there's some grants and some capital expenses from, as far back as 2017 that we call it dinged, quote unquote, our free cash, or E&D in your case, as a regional school district, that is not available at the moment. So. But we have a positive balance of $933,000 that I believe the conversation the superintendent's going to have with the school committee tonight. FY26, as long as there aren't any invoices sitting on desks that OA is not aware of, seems to be coming in on budget. And if any surprises happen, you have the ability with school choice and other revenue accounts and or grants to make ends meet. So FY26 is going to be okay. And FY27, obviously, huge debate this evening. So with that, I yield to you, Superintendent and Madam Chair, if you need anything more specific from me.
Question, Kim?
TJ, so you're saying there is no 2026 budget deficit left to the previous administration?
I do not see one, and I do not see one happening unless there's unforeseen circumstances, which we've experienced, but we do not see it through infinite visions and through the system.
Okay. All right, thank you, TJ. So
Julie,
now,
I have a question.
Bonnie, excuse me.
So I am not a finance person. I am zero in certain areas. But when it comes to these charts, that's hard for me. But I did get the audit reports, thank you, Michelle Castellano, for the past, since 19. And the Scanlon's audit reports show, except for 1 year, and I remember when that happened, where there was a problem in food services that took over a year to resolve, there isn't anything that's shown as other than okay, that we followed everything, that everything was legit from 2019 until the last one was 2025. Can you confirm, I know it's another company, but their audit reports?
So, I can confirm to you and the rest of the group that we work very closely with Scanlon and the team there to make sure we reconcile and roll over, and we haven't quite done so yet, 25 to 26 and 26 ultimately to 27, that E&D has been certified and nearly $1 million. And there are no material issues. Sure, you can get hit on E&D based upon some spending and some accounting and whatever, and we have to work through whether or not we fix that or how do we fix it, if we can, or do we just whatever. But, so there's $270,000 out there that they said we can't give you credit for. However, there are no material issues whatsoever related to the budget. And I think if we bring in FY26 on budget and offset expenses to the appropriate sources, and I think everything's gonna be okay. I don't see an issue other than the unforeseen circumstance that might be sitting on someone's desk.
Okay, so the 270,000 that's in question, that's currently a questionable part of E&D from sometime in the past?
It was rejected from 2017 on, based upon balances that have been carried forward.
Okay, but everything that Scanlon has done, the reports that I was reading, are valid, correct?
I don't see any. I don't see any material financial problems whatsoever at this point.
Okay.
But if somebody has 300 invoices on their desk, and I'm not aware of, that's not encumbered through infinite divisions, then I can't report on that.
Oh, of course, thank you.
Okay. All right, Bonnie, is that all your questions? So I can go to Kim?
For
Or
right
do you
now.
have other
For
questions?
right now, that's it.
Kim?
So TJ, when I talked to Nick from DOR, he said that the state never takes back money from years that they have certified. So that 270, are you talking about when we expected to get the 1.1 million certified and now it's 933?
Yes. So the state does not take back money. They just recognize it on the balance sheet that there's a negative $270,000 that should be or could be or may be reconciled.
Right. So, and secondly, I notice it's not in the new packet, but in the packet we got right before this, it says that we've only spent $16,200,000 or $300,000 out of the $20,600,000 budget year to date, which means we still have $4 million for the month to go, correct? Or change?
So let me look at let me look into that piece, because.
I'm just looking at the numbers I was given.
No, I understand, but do you have 26 pay period teachers?
Everything, yeah, but the new budget starts July
They
1st.
get the summer, they get accrued back too.
Okay, so even if they
They get
get,
accrued back to fiscal 26.
okay,
So like, I need to make sure that I get out of Harper's
Okay.
and from your team, the data that will show the payroll expense for the 26 pay period teachers.
yeah.
Like 22 are fine, like everything's fine, but if they're 26 pay periods, then that most elect to that, and I don't know how many you have, and I'll defer to the superintendent and the team to know if that's a big number, but
Yeah.
you gotta accrue it back the right way.
Right, when will we find that out?
As soon as I have a conversation with your payroll folks and make sure that we understand everyone that's elected to be a 26 pay period person.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for TJ at this point? Oh, sorry.
TJ, I just have a quick question about that 270,000. You said it was from 2017, and I'm admittedly not a finance person. I'm just wondering, since this is a great time to learn and not make the same mistakes moving forward, could you explain, in a quick version, how that happened and how we make sure that doesn't happen again?
Yeah. Honestly, it comes down to making sure your capital expenses are properly expended during the proper fiscal year. Make sure your drawdowns and your grant drawdowns that are done in the proper fiscal year. And, if you have an expenditure that is deemed unacceptable, for lack of a better word, like not part of the grant terms and conditions, and then you need to make sure you recognize them. So it is not a big deal. Getting hit on free cash or E&D happens frequently for every municipality and or school district, or regional school district in your case, often. And it just happens because of the way accounting works, and making sure the accounting is proper and done appropriately.
Just one more thing.
Thank you, Kim.
Why don't you have TJ actually explain what E&D really is? Because everybody keeps hearing E&D and E&D. And a lot of people probably do not understand what E&D actually is. And just for a record, 2017, I believe, was Dave Hastings' year.
I don't know.
That's how far back that mistake went. So I think TJ should explain E&D and what it actually is.
Well, 2017
Yeah,
would be 9 years back, yeah, okay. TJ, are you able to do that for us? Explain a little bit about how
I do think
E&D
we need
works.
to hear that, so. Madam Chair, am I good to go?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so E&D is Excess and Deficiency Report. It is what in municipalities and other school districts call free cash. You file for your excess and you show the assessments for the revenue versus expenses. And that generates a number. And the number is certified by DOR, the Divisional Local Services, to say you have this money available for appropriation for other purposes. And that may be for fiscal 26 closeout if necessary. It may be, it most likely will be for fiscal 27, which the debate will come soon, on how to close the gap and deal with the fiscal 27 budget. But generally speaking, this is a third party, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, basically telling us, here is what you have available as revenue to put towards your budget.
Great, thank you.
So
Thank you.
maybe just to
Okay.
sum it up, that it's our own money that, sorry.
It's unspent money
It's our
from a
own unspent
previous
money
year
that the
that will
towns
go
have paid
forward.
us in, or grants that weren't spent down. So it's like a slush fund for the district.
No, I never think of dollars. That's
Well, so to speak. It's not a slush fund, but it's extra money. That is our own money.
33,000 available.
Okay, wrong word, but basically it's the money that was given to the district that goes back out, and the state certifies it to resend it out to offset the next year's budget.
To reapply.
To
Yes,
reapply.
that's exactly right.
I think that's what I was trying to get for him to say to the people.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on FY +26?
CJ, when was that
Yeah.
certified?
Oh.
Sorry, that's my question.
Probably 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay.
I think it was just last week. because I got it. I just
What
learned
date
about
was
it.
that,
What date?
Wednesday. It was last Wednesday.
It was
Yeah,
last Wednesday.
Just last week. Maybe Tuesday? Yeah.
Okay.
Did TJ say a date?
No, this was not clean. Nothing has been clean and easy. I know that the whole entire group knows that. It took 20 corrected journal entries.
Understood. No, I'm just curious about what the date of the certification was.
Yeah, it was just last week.
Wednesday.
Do you have the actual date?
I didn't get the certified email from TLF. You got it?
I know I learned about it on
I
Wednesday.
know you got it.
Pretty
but
sure it was Wednesday.
I know it came from Sean Cronin or Deb Wagner or whoever.
Right,
It
yeah.
was last Wednesday.
It was Tuesday or Wednesday, that's all I know. Yeah.
It's like 2 weeks
Is that
ago.
okay? Yep, okay. Yeah, so we just learned about this. Anything else on FY +26? No? All right, then, next agenda, we will go to the budget presentation between Dr. Ricca and
me?
TJ,
No,
however
me.
you guys are going there.
Good evening, everyone. Every day that I'm privileged to spend time in our schools, I'm reminded of what makes this district special. Something I've learned over a brief amount of time. I see our students publishing their own writings and books. I see students deeply engaged in teaching and learning. I see teachers taking complex concepts and breaking them down into bite-sized, meaningful pieces so that students can experience success. I get to participate in read-alouds with children, witness incredible displays of sportsmanship, watch stellar acting, singing, and dancing on our stages. I see teachers and staff showing up for kids every single day in ways both big and small. That is what has made this process so difficult. Over the course of this budget season, there have been countless conversations, late nights, phone calls, meetings, discussions involving district leadership, union representatives, leadership team members, and school committee as we worked together trying to preserve opportunities for students and support as many staff members as possible. A tremendous amount of thought, care, and collaboration has gone into these recommendations before you tonight. From the beginning, from as far back as February, we have tried to be transparent that difficult financial decisions were coming. At the same time, we've tried to stay grounded in what matters most, doing right by kids, while also building a budget that is responsible and sustainable for the future of our 5 communities. As educators, we know budgets are never just numbers on a spreadsheet. They represent people, programs, relationships, opportunities, and experiences for students. And we have a responsibility to build budgets that are sustainable and realistic, especially given the economic pressures facing both schools and taxpayers right now. That means we have to be careful not to build budgets around funding that has not yet been formally approved or guaranteed. While that approach can and probably does feel conservative, we believe it is the most responsible way to protect the long-term stability of the district moving forward. With the recent certification of excess and deficiency funds, we are now able to explore additional options within the budget framework. Those conversations include, as TJ just told us, confirming that we can successfully close FY '26, exploring where positions may be responsibly restored, potentially reducing pressure on town assessments where possible, and preserving some resources for unforeseen circumstances in future fiscal years. While I know there may still be disagreement with aspects of this budget, we respect that. But we also know that everyone involved in these conversations ultimately wants the same thing: strong schools, supported students, and a district that remains healthy and sustainable for years to come. Chris, could you put up the presentation, please? Could you go to the next slide? So FY27 considerations. We began by our initial ask, which was all in. Everybody who has a job in FY26, we would offer a job to in FY27. That amounted to almost $23 million. After careful consideration, the school committee gave us a target assessment of 6%. That's approximately $20.6 million. The difference there is $2.2 million. Next slide, please. We had to make additions to FY27. As it has been shared several times, there's a reduction in Title I at the federal level, which we are absorbing at the state and local level. We were told to expect 15% reductions, so we have moved 2 ESPs from the Title I funding to our general fund. We have a teacher currently on leave who is returning, so the difference in the long-term sub and the teacher salary has to be figured in. There's a memo in the school committee packet and also in the public packet indicating that Ms. Castellano should be given consideration for a raise. Given that, I also spoke with other members of the leadership team and am offering raises that have been offset by reductions in district travel to Dr. Tatro and Ms. Sternagel. We have been, it has been recommended to us by our fuel provider that we put aside $80,000 in additional fuel costs for next year, given the unpredictability of cost of a barrel of oil. That money, to be clear, is coming from our capital improvements line, so that will be taken out and will not be voted on as part of capital improvements. That'll be voted on as part of the operational budget if the school committee adopts this budget. We needed to have more in custodial overtime. We are under this year due to weekend, evening, and event support that our facilities folks take care of. Tanglewood has asked us for a little more in terms of graduation costs for next year. We were under this year due to the amount of snow, so the building contract services is for plowing. We need additional money there. Our copy release for FY27 was under budgeted. As part of the recent collective bargaining agreement, money was put aside for our para-educators to encourage them to further their education. That tuition has to be added in. We have an EDS subscription, which is additional money for high school math books. That HMH stands for Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, which is part of our two-year renewal via our Student Opportunity Action Plan. We have to get a trainer and training for de-escalation for some of our more challenging students. We have a new business manager who will need to go through the MASBO mentor and educational training. There was an incorrect salary input as part of our high school guidance department. And due to the recent school committee direction to level fund all budgets, we had to put drama stipends back in, which weren't there because of level funding. All those items total a little more than $272,000 for additions to FY27. Next slide, please, Chris. So that difference from the earlier slide, $2,207,750, plus the additions I'm recommending for FY27 means our path to balance is almost $2.5 million. Next slide, please. These initial reductions were brought to us by department heads as part of the initial budget workup that came out to the school committee in February. Between custodial uniform reimbursements being lowered, district travel being lowered, custodial substitutes being lowered, iReady textbooks being lowered at middle, elementary, and New Marlboro, instructional materials in PE, health at both the high school and the middle school, Arts dues, arts repair, and contracted services reductions, again, brought to us by department heads. That totals almost $127,000. Next slide, thank you. The initial offsets that have been applied since we began presenting the budget, we've had $513,000 in school choice, down from almost $1 million last year. And working with TJ, I have had in the budget, anticipating it would come in more, $500,000 from excess and deficiency. Even though it wasn't certified until recently, TJ and Open Architects were confident that I could use that number as a hold, hoping that the money would come in higher. So with those two put together, we have a little over $1 million in offsets that we can apply.
Oh, Brian.
Bonnie, do you mind, I'd like the whole presentation and then we come back for questions if that's okay?
Yeah.
So that
Can you just
we get the
explain what
continuity.
This $1,013,000 is what you're ready to take away?
It's already baked in.
Okay.
Those numbers are already baked in.
That's E&D and school choice, the
Yes.
1 million?
Yes.
At those levels.
At those levels, correct.
That's there so far.
Thank you for the clarification.
Then comes the hard part, talking about reductions. The reality for us is we had to find more money. It was not going to be enough simply with offsets. And so you see the list of positions. And what I want to be clear about, because I can't talk about individual people, we follow in the collective bargaining agreement what is known as last in and first out. So if we are looking potentially to reduce a fourth grade teaching position, we look at all of the individuals who are eligible to teach fourth grade, who have a license to teach fourth grade. The most recent person hired is then reduced. We do all the way down the line. So while you may think, oh, I know exactly who this is, there have been cases where, for example, I can tell you that there's an example on this board of someone who was reduced in the category that you see listed. However, this individual had an additional licensure, so that individual was able to bump someone else in another category who did not have the seniority. Unfortunately, that was a total of 11.2 FTEs in teaching, for a total of almost $715,000 of reductions.
Brian, excuse me, but is that correct? The
Third grade NMC.
Yes.
That was pre-K.
Third grade, so this is why, so what I'm saying is, the third grade teaching position at NMC was reduced, but it followed what I just described, which was looking at the seniority list with the association to identify the lowest person in that eligible teaching category to be reduced. Just because you see a position there does not necessarily correspond with the person who is given a reduction letter based on the collective bargaining agreement. And I assure you, we went over this with our association very, very carefully. Very, very carefully.
Okay, so
next, thank you, Chris. There's a slight error there. The first one should say 0.5 FTE in special education administrative assistant. These were difficult and challenging ones as well. I should add that as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, we were officially notified that we will be partnering in early college. So the early college coordinator is not going to be reduced. We did earn the early college status and we'll be partnering going forward. Expect an announcement from the states in the coming weeks. So that number is incorrect there because I got it at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So please just note that. You didn't have time to change. The packet had already went out. In addition, next slide please, Chris. In addition, we used attrition. So these are a list of resignations or retirements that have allowed us to reduce an additional almost $310,000. Next slide, please, Chris. So, our original path to balance was almost 2.5 million. We had initial reductions from department heads at $127,000. We had offsets included of over $1 million. Teaching position reductions, staff position reductions, and attrition. And we reduced $2,500,312, which was, as it turns out, slightly more than we needed. So there was a surplus, and that came out on our in the budget sheet that went out on Monday of almost $20,000. Next slide, please, Chris. So, with that surplus of $19,000, with the additional E&D certified at $433,154, because remember we had already used $500,000 to do this calculation, that $433,154 represents the total $933,154. I do want to point out, it's not a trifling amount that we were not eligible for. We could have had an additional $270,000 that was disallowed by the state from as far back as 2017, but including other years. It was not simply 2017. Doing a historical analysis, we are noting that we can reduce $20,000 from our substitute line. Thanks to some deferred maintenance from Ed Bramer, we're going to reduce $50,000 from our capital improvement line. Thanks to some generosity from Chris Thompson, we're going to reduce $50,000 from the capital tech line. And thanks to some sharp eyes by our school committee chair, Julie Hannum, we saw that there was one salary that was counted twice in our budget workup for the 5th time. That is a total of $662,275. Next slide, please, Chris. So at this point, I hope the conversation will turn to the school committee's desire as to what to do with that additional $662,000. Again, I just heard from DJ at 5 minutes to 5. FY26, you all heard, FY26 will turn out okay. You do not have to worry about saving any money to confirm the end of FY26. I would offer to the school committee, set aside some money to reinstate some positions. What we have talked about, both with the association and with the leadership team, is to do so in the following priority. Number one, ensure that we can honor the contract, negotiated agreement for both teachers and paraeducators. That means duties, prep periods, and class schedules. The second priority when money is offered to the leadership team to reinstate positions would be around district priorities, such as STEM and the arts. The third thing I would offer is to ensure that we have a robust educational program that this community can be proud of. I also offer for school committee consideration the concept of potentially lowering assessments. Approximately $139,000 from that 662 would lower the overall assessment in Southern Berkshire to 5%. It would bring Sheffield to 6.1%. Sheffield is by far paying the most per the formula in Southern Berkshire. I would also recommend that the school committee save, and I threw it out as an option, between $150,000 and $200,000, perhaps to consider for future unforeseen circumstances. And my last comment that I will offer, I could not agree with Mr. Fish more. Any money that is used this year that I am discussing now will not be here for next year's budget. I want to say that again. Any money that is used that we are discussing right now of that $662,000 is one-time money only and will not be available we will be having similar conversations, if to Mr. Fish's point, when, I will say hopefully, this budget is approved by at least 4 out of 5 towns, we as a community need to start immediately discussing how we will do this better. Because in just looking at last year's budget and in trying to solve this year's budget, I am repeating what was done last year, which is using offsets to pay human beings. That will not be sustainable. And as someone mentioned at the podium, districts across the state of Massachusetts are cutting professional educators. It is not just a Southern Berkshire problem. It is not a Berkshire County problem. It is a Massachusetts state problem. But until the funding formula changes, what we do tonight, what the school committee does tonight, will only be a temporary solution. It will not be a long-term solution. Thank you.
Is TJ going back on?
I think so. Do we need TJ at this point?
I would
I'm
like
not
to ask
sure.
TJ questions.
Is it in reference to FY27?
Oh, yes.
TJ, are you available for us? He could be listening, I'm not sure. I think he thought he was.
No, he said he was going to be.
He would be there.
Because I noticed that
He's there. I mean, he's there, his
thing's there.
He may have stepped away for a moment, but I'm not sure.
Well, I'll start. If you don't mind.
Well, go ahead, Kim.
So every superintendent in this state of Massachusetts has to do a snapshot of a budget. They include their title grants that they foresee coming, circuit breaker, IDA, 40, 260, there's a rural aid. Every single superintendent does it. Why aren't you?
We did.
No, I don't
Circuit
see
breaker
it.
was- You know that circuit breaker was double booked?
I haven't
pointed that
seen
out.
anything.
That was,
Kim, I'm sorry.
that was pointed out, that was already pointed out.
But
We
where
explained
is it?
very clearly, TJ and Open Architects explained very clearly that was double booked last year, that is not available to us. We have said at this table, consistently, there are no more rabbits to pull out of the hat.
So the rest of title grants were all double book?
Title I is in. It's 15% lower. We have put everything into this budget that we can. I said it the last time this body met. There are no more rabbits to pull out of the hat. This is the budget. It was built with almost $2 million of offsets to get us here this year. We have
Where
put
are
forth.
I'm
You
just
have to
asking.
stop interrupting, please. Let Dr. Ricka finish.
We
then you
have,
may ask.
we have added in all of the possible offsets. TJ and Open Architects have validated it. There are no more rabbits to pull out of the hat. I had a conversation with a community member last week that when the budget was presented in February, and it was the monstrosity of the 18% up and $1.8 million path to balance, that person did some very quick calculations and said, at about $100,000 a person, that's between 16 and 18 people to close the gap.
I guess
But we were able to find some other
yes,
things.
exactly.
We were
I
able
guess
to
my
find some
question
other
is,
things.
where is all of that? Because it's not represented.
Well, rural aid, I understand, is for Transcend and
Correct.
for transportation, so that's not on this piece.
What we
Circuit breaker
was
is
double booked
covering, well, but what
and out of district placements.
is out of district placement, which
I
is not a part
understand
of
that,
all of
but
this.
in a budget, you have your operation of transportation in your capital, correct? The assessments to the town come within this budget, and it's a one lump sum number that goes out to the town. They're paying an assessment on budget and capital. I think they're broken down in two different
It's right here.
places.
It was given to you on
Right, they
Monday.
are. So if rural aid is to do with transportation, shouldn't it be coming off the transportation side?
Everything we
I'm
have
not
to
seeing
date,
it.
everything we have to date so far.
Yeah,
in.
everything you
Yes.
have to date
And
so far.
previous leadership in this district has overestimated to the detriment of staffing in a way that is not sustainable.
Well, according to TJ, that's not true.
That's.
He
TJ
said there was
produced this.
absolutely nothing.
Correct, because they used offsets to pay people instead of planning to pay people for the positions that they have.
Yeah.
We don't have the offsets to do what was done last year. There was 900, almost $1 million in school choice.
It was 800,000.
Kim, please stop interrupting.
But
This is not meant to be
Yeah.
a back and forth.
It's not a back and
I'm
forth, but let's put
I'm
out
gonna stop.
accurate data.
Hold on,
I'm
okay,
done.
I'm
I'm
gonna
done.
stop
Go ahead.
Miguel.
I would like to make a motion that we do not reduce the town assessments in favor of keeping as many staff as possible.
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Miguel. I was gonna say, let's focus on the
Please, yes.
the projects that are here.
Yes.
A motion has been made and seconded
TJ's back.
by Miguel and Bonnie to not reduce the town assessments that were agreed upon. You're talking about 6%?
Correct.
To clarify, that we maintain the 6%
With that,
assessment.
we
that
maintain the
talked about.
6% assessment for the towns.
Okay, so let's discuss that matter.
Can I ask
Is
TJ
there
a
someone
question?
else, Kim, just for a
I
moment?
think other people need to speak.
Yes, please. Nancy, why don't you go ahead, and then Amy?
Okay, yeah, I guess I've been hearing from town administrators saying that they would rather see, or some of the town administrators would rather see that the integrity of the education that's offered is kept as, that's a priority. So it is the PE for the kid, for the elementary school kids, it is the chorus, it is the choral and all the other stuff, that library, as best we can. And I think that the impression that I certainly certainly I've had, and that what I think makes the district what it is its STEAM power, which is how important the humanities are, especially for those kids who are not the sports kids. You know, we've got the science kids, and we've got the art kids, and we've got the kids who do a little bit of everything. That's one of the things that happens. So anyway, I'm hearing that. I'm also hearing, excuse me. I think another thing that I've gotten is that there's been discussion about the reductions that were opted to be made by, that was included, if I understood correctly from what I got from, again, this was a town administrator, that during COVID, and Bonnie and Art, you probably can speak, I mean, Carl, you can speak to this better, but apparently during COVID, when we were in a massive emergency, both financial and health-wise, that a lot of cuts were chosen to be made by the district individuals, by people in the district. And that was something that, that yes, there were cuts to, for I believe this is in the quoted, it was everybody from admin to teachers and staff to food providers and bus drivers were doing what they could to do things like allow for the theater department to put on one of the best productions ever, even though there were no recommended costumes or paid musicians. Students were able to play sports even though they would have traveled great distances or had new uniforms, personnel of all kinds, and I think this is one that could actually be looked at for this year's budget, if not in the future. Personnel of all kinds did not travel to conferences, yet they still grew professionally. Many experiences were limited, but they were still able to happen. So I really want to put it out there that I think that I think there are other ways. I'm not saying that due diligence wasn't done by any stretch of the imagination. I know that it was, but you're hearing from the community. We're hearing from the community that the places where many of the cuts are happening, maybe should be reconsidered. And that, yeah, so anyway, just putting that out there.
Okay,
I
thank-
got lots of other things I can read.
Thank you, Nancy. Amy and then Kim.
Okay, so if we lower the or if we don't lower the assessments, Dr. Ricka had recommended $139,000 to consider to lower it. We would add that to the 662.
Oh, no,
it's
sorry,
already
that's a
in
part
there.
of.
That's
So
a
that
part of
anything on this slide, anything on the last page would be coming from that
From the
662.
Okay.
So from this set of recommendations, you would take 662 and either subtract 150 or 200 or another number that you folks decide is important to hold for unforeseen circumstances and direct us a dollar amount to reinstate positions if you're so inclined.
Okay, but right now, we're
Right.
going to focus discussion on the motion to maintain the 6% assessment. Kim, is that what you want to address?
I actually want to ask my questions to TJ. That was going to be, that will.
Can you hold that until
Not
we
really, because
finish
it
this?
comes into the point that if there's more money that he knows about, maybe we don't have to worry about it.
There is,
It's-
I think there's a motion on the table, and I think we need to vote on it. I would like to call the vote.
We can get back to your question, Kim, because it may impact other positions or something else. But right now, let's stay focused on whether or not we maintain the 6%. Other comments? Amy?
Yeah, no, sorry, I wasn't finished before. So, all right, so if we do not lower it anymore, we have this money that could go towards restoring positions or something else. I just want to clarify what that means in terms of lowering or not lowering. And really what we're talking about is a difference that we will see as taxpayers, correct? That's all we're talking.
That's correct. Basically, we would be letting our voters
decide.
Okay. You know, if we give them that 6%.
Okay.
May I offer something as a part of that conversation?
Okay.
So what we have discussed and what this community should know, it is if 4 out of the 5 towns do not pass this budget at 6%, if that's how the motion goes, we would be reduced to what's called a 1/12th budget. So we would go 1 month at a time per assessments, back to the original dollar amount that started FY26, which is just a little bit north of $20 million. No one would get any raises until the 4 out of the 5 towns would re-vote and get a budget that was found to be acceptable. I just want to say that out loud.
That is possible. Bonnie?
So, we, apropos of what Amy just asked, currently it shows, I think Sheffield at 7.1 and
Correct.
the others. Are we saying if we go with our 6%, we're bringing the other towns up?
No, so what you got on Monday is reflective of the 6%. So what we sent out Monday shows the assessments at 6%. Alfred would be asked for a 3.1% increase. Egremont would be asked for a 4.9% increase. Monterey would be asked for a 3.9% increase. New Marlborough would be asked for a 5.8% increase. And Sheffield would be asked for a 7.1% increase.
Right, that's what you sent out.
Right, so the calculation that I asked Open Architects to do is, as an exercise, what would it take to get Sheffield in particular closer to the 6% that was the intention of this body?
Yes.
And what that was, which is apropos of the motion that's on the table, we could take, the school committee, could take $139,000, apply it to the operating budget, and that would make the overall assessment 5% and the Sheffield assessment 6.1%.
One thing I did notice with the Sheffield trend, last year, I think it had to do with an enrollment shift.
Yes.
It went down
It
rather
usually does.
significantly, and that is, the rolling average is what makes that adjustment a little more bearable, but it seems like it was a more major shift, because I did pretty deep dive on the formula with Open Architects, with Jen, who did that, and so I'm afraid, that does appear to be the number that it would be, that it just shifted rather significantly for Sheffield.
It happened to New Marlboro.
A few years ago, yeah.
Years ago.
It
So
does
that
happen
happened.
sometimes, yeah. So, I mean, I just think that is a decision that this body needs to make, whether or not,
So therefore, if we vote for Miguel's motion,
right,
it would leave the assessments the way you sent it out on Monday.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
it would be our 6% that we targeted many months ago.
With 17
trying
staff
to
gone.
do that, yeah.
But 17 staff would not be on because
you
we
could-
will be taking money to bring people.
Right, yeah.
To
if we-
reinstate positions. I would hope that there would be a substantial amount of money, the school committee directs the leadership team to reinstate positions based on what we discussed, which would be first and foremost, honoring the collective bargaining agreements, being sure that we could do all the duties and prep periods that are
I
promised.
thought you already did that in making the recommendation in riffing people.
We have, but there may be gaps that we have missed. It's possible, there's no question. The second part would be to target areas of priority in the district, such as STEM and the arts. And the third part would be to look for the most and put forth the most robust educational program that our 5 communities can be proud of.
But all we're voting on now is the 6%.
Exactly,
Correct.
that is the motion right
Correct.
now, whether or
Correct.
not we would adjust that. Because it is a pretty big ask of Sheffield, but Sheffield is a pretty big education supporting town. I will say that. Carl?
Okay, in asking this question, I'm ignoring Mark Twain's admonition about better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and confirm it. We are voting on Member Mears' motion. We're about to vote on it, even though we don't have a budget yet.
We have a budget, we have
No, I'm sorry.
662,000 that we are, I don't want to say play with, but we are discussing how we would want to apply that.
But we don't have it, I'm sorry. There's a modifier, an approved budget. We do not have an approved budget.
No. We will hopefully approve next week. This
We may-
is to get us to
We may
that.
or we may not. The school committee may or may not approve a budget. The 4 out of the 5 towns may or may not approve a budget.
That is right.
And will passage, let us say, of this motion that's on the floor right now be valid whether or not we have a budget or don't have a budget?
Recommend a
Could I-
budget.
yeah,
I think
could
he's
I-
saying recommend.
Could I maybe help?
Yeah, of course.
If, depending on how the outcome of that vote goes, you would be able, and that's what I will hope happens at the end of this meeting, to direct the leadership team to reinstate X amount of dollars for next week's adoption. I will point out, as a result of that, all but one of the individuals who's proposed to be reduced do not have professional status. So for example, if Bonnie has been reduced in her position without professional status, she has no recall rights to the position. There's only one person on that list who has recall rights automatically to that position. So if Bonnie is, say, a 4th grade teacher, and that is one of the positions the leadership team indicates is critical to honoring the contract and making sure that our students get the best possible education, it would be an internal posting, and anyone who is eligible with that licensure would be able to apply. Presuming that we have someone, we would not have to post externally. But I don't want folks to think that simply because the positions are reconsidered, all of those individuals automatically get that back. That's based on professional status. Did that help?
Well, yeah, sort of. So would Mark Twain have said to me, you should have kept your mouth shut, Carl?
No, essentially you'll say, are you going to use additional $139,000 to potentially reinstate positions?
Okay.
Or would you use it to buy down the assessment overall?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the choice.
That's the choice.
That's the choice.
Essentially,
We're
that's the
using
choice.
that possibility or some portion of it.
Correct.
We could say, oh, about half of it. What if we reduced to 0.5%? I mean, that's just muddying the water. But right now, Miguel's motion is that we maintain the 6.
That we've already sent to the town.
Yeah, that we already have, and that we would use that for other purposes, and it sounds like it would be reinstating positions. Bonnie?
I'm thinking, tell me if I'm wrong, or TJ, tell me if I'm wrong, that we're putting the cart before the horse. My priority, me, Bonnie, Remembra, is reinstating. This has been a total horror on our district. For whatever reasons, whatever. It's reinstating positions. It's wonderful that we have people who've been advocating for certain positions, but social studies, at one time English, there may be things that Jesse would tell us that make those positions priority. I'm not making it, that's the leadership team.
Right.
But I'm thinking that maybe we should not, I agree with it, not make the decision until we go through the reinstatements, because we haven't known all of that. And I think that's the priority. Dr. Rick, I think that's your priority. And I think maybe we should lay this on the table for right now until we go ahead with the others. I don't want us getting caught in a position where we've locked ourselves in with a vote.
Well, what we're basically saying, though, Bonnie, is that if we choose to stay at that 6% where the budget is, then we would use that money for reinstatement.
What I'm saying is, let's do the priority. The priority is bringing people back.
I think we need
Well,
the
we
money
can't,
to do that.
we need the money.
You can't reinstate people until you say you have the money to reinstate them by.
And that's what we're trying to figure out. How much of this 662 can we use to reinstate?
The reductions brought us to the surplus that we have. So we have,
We already have over 500,000 to restore positions without locking in.
That's what we're determining.
That's what we're figuring out. We have 662,000. And we want to figure out how much, do we use all of the 662 to restore? Or do we not? And Miguel is saying, okay, leave the assessment the way it is. We want to keep it.
No,
That's
I like that.
step number 1.
What happens if an hour from now, we say, uh-oh, it's got to be 6.2, or it could be 5.4? I guess we could change that vote.
Well, I mean, we're not, right now, we are not, keep in mind, we're not adopting. We're giving guidance so that we have a final budget next Wednesday that we can adopt. There'll be if we have to further discuss, we will further discuss.
I don't want it driven in the community that the school committee said 6%, this is it. Because I've heard from other towns than Sheffield, as well as Sheffield, that they are more concerned about the status of our programs. And I've gotten some individual letters that are so powerful. So as long as you are reassuring me that should we need to make another adjustment, somebody could bring another motion.
Yeah, well, we haven't adopted anything
Until you
yet.
adopt,
So
it's
until you
still
adopt,
yours.
I know
it's
that.
still ours to work on.
I know that.
I'm
just putting it out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does muddy the conversation. I mean, we have a meeting Wednesday, we would have time, we could have another meeting Tuesday? Do we want? I mean, I don't think so. I think Wednesday, but we could certainly have the conversations and continue to amend.
We do what's the priority, which is the viability of the programs for our students.
So it might be that...
I don't want people turn around and say, oh, the school committee said we couldn't do anything over 6%. That's not what some elected leaders in 3 towns have told me.
I realized that the budget process and targeting that 6% was totally backwards to what a normal budget process is. But it's kind of where we're kind of dealing right now. But at least if we, let us put this, if we vote yes on Miguel's motion, then we are confirming that we want that $139,000 to go to salaries. That's basically what this motion is. We're trying to
139?
confirm that that is where we want that money to go.
Plus the other.
I mean,
Well, we're gonna vote on each category of recommendations separately. Okay, Kim?
How much is it total to reinstate all staff?
Yeah, we have slides here, let's add them up.
Not all the other stuff, not the raises, not everything, the staff.
The teaching position reduction.
I'm
714,000.
talking Ryan, I'm talking.
No, that's what we're looking at.
714,546 for the teaching staff.
Yeah.
336,508 for the staff.
Well,
So
but
that's
that number is actually slightly lower because today we just were able to acknowledge and know that we got the early college. So I don't know exactly.
I'll do a
what-
rough number there.
What that, you
So
know,
700, 300, we're looking at $1 million.
$1 million.
well.
And you're talking about 139.
Can I say something?
No, that's not, we're not talking.
Yeah,
$1,050,000.
Whichever order comes.
okay, we'll go Nancy, then Miguel.
No, Miguel can go first, that's fine. I just wanted-
You want Miguel to go first? Okay, Miguel.
I think this motion is to put us in the path of getting as much money back for the teachers as possible. We've already gone through lengthy discussions about the percentage we should propose to the towns. And from what I've heard from members of residents of New Marlboro, they are okay going to 6% to save the teaching staff. So I also hear what Dr. Ricca says about if we don't get 4 out of 5 towns, it puts us in a different predicament. So I think we can obviously offer more. My initial idea was 8%, but that was shot down many months ago. So I'm okay for 6%, and I think we need to make some decisions tonight to start bringing the teachers back.
I have numbers if you would like me to respond.
Okay, you have some numbers.
So based
Okay.
on the attrition, based on the teaching positions, and based on the staff positions, it would be approximately $1.3 million if all positions were reinstated. Currently available is a little north of $662,000. Pending Mr. Muir's motion and pending the school committee's decision to put money aside or not for any unforeseen circumstances for next year.
Do you know yet, I'm sorry.
Bonnie.
Do you know yet, because between transportation's being funded between 90 and 92%, do we know what?
So conference committee starts on Monday. We will not have an answer till the end of June. As I've said from the beginning, to I'm sure people's consternation, I'm going with the most conservative approach, so that if we get more money, we can reinstate, as opposed to get less money and have to go to the towns to say, we need more because we didn't budget appropriately.
Okay, and the other thing, they passed, and it passed conference committee, is my understanding.
Conference committee hasn't started yet.
No, I'm not on transportation. On rural aid at 20 million. None.
I'm not sure that any of that's been finalized yet.
Well, it doesn't have a governor's signature.
I don't think it's even
So, no,
Yeah, I don't
as
think,
of last
won't everything go to the governor in June, right? So,
As of last night, they said the 20 million is definitely going through. This gets to what was told to the teachers and whoever was riffed in their riff letters about reinstatement.
Right, so reinstatement, there's one individual who would automatically be recalled. Anyone else who is eligible for a reinstated position would have to apply, including, hypothetically, a third grade teacher who says, hey, I would be interested in actually teaching fourth grade.
Right.
So because of the lack of professional status,
Right.
there's only one person who, if reinstated, has what are called in the negotiated agreement, recall rights.
Right.
The remaining folks do not.
Okay, let's hear from Nancy, please.
Sticking with the 6%, that's what we already have in place.
Yes.
I think that it was not necessarily a particularly popular choice, but I think we were somewhat pressured into that with concerns about whether towns were going to, what we could do to make it possible. I think what we're hearing now is that, to Bonnie's point, that some of town administrators would be willing to be more flexible, but I think to stick with the 6% as per Miguel's recommendation makes sense. So I think that, I think to call the question would be in order.
Okay, all right, Nancy, thank you. Okay, so the question has been called, so we will vote on, where am I? The 6%. We'll vote on first calling the question that we would vote on Miguel and Bonnie's motion to maintain the 6% assessment and not make any further reductions. So, we're voting on calling the question. Nancy, I will start with you. Yes.
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Carl?
Who made it and seconded?
Nancy?
We're calling the question.
I made the motion and Bonnie seconded it.
No, I know that.
Oh, for calling the question. She called the question.
She being
Oh,
Nancy.
Nancy called the question.
And that
And who
was
seconded that?
Second.
Amy seconded that? Okay.
She did now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, Carl. Well,
Okay, yes.
are you okay? Kim?
Yeah.
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to call the question. So we're maintaining the 6%, which means we will not make any further reduction.
we didn't vote.
That was
No, that was calling the
That's the
question.
motion.
vote.
That's the motion. That's the motion we're going to vote on. Is everybody clear on what we're voting on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
Amy? Carl?
Yes.
Kim?
I voted no against the original capping at 6%.
So you're voting no.
No.
Art?
I think it should be better. Well,
Art?
I do too. No.
You're voting no. Nancy?
Yes.
Yes, and Julie is yes. So that motion passes 7-2. Okay, now, before we go on to the next one, I know, Kim, you had a question of TJ. Oh, geez, he was there and now he's not there. TJ, are you there? Can you hear us?
I'll text him and see if I can get him back.
Yes, he is.
There you go.
Okay, we have another question. Thank you. Kim, your question, please.
So TJ, I've heard, I see the budget and stuff like that, and knowing that I think last year's budget was 20,006, and by the time you took in all the offsets and things like that, the assessments to the town were around 15 million and change, right?
Yeah.
So now we have a $21 million budget. Sorry. $5 million of offsets were used last year, but now we're only seeing $1 million offsets this year. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I am
You're
wrong.
not wrong.
I'm not
You had
wrong.
you had double counted offsets.
Yeah, but that
for
was
circuit breaker
2.
And the IDA grant.
Okay, that's about
You had
500.
other offsets that were directly paid by the budget as it was adopted. So you're paying things twice, and you don't have that luxury of that revenue available now. And that is the fundamental problem that we're facing as we look at FY27. Like, I can't do the math any differently, and I can't generate revenue any differently.
No, I'm not asking that. What I'm asking is,
No, I understand that. My point is, we have spent countless hours cleaning up the books of Southern Berkshire to understand where you are for a budget. We have reached out to Scanlon and worked directly with them to make sure E&D was certified in a way that makes sense.
Correct.
We have re-looked at your accruals and your budget, and I'm sorry that the numbers are coming out the way they are, but these are the numbers, and I don't like to be the bearer of bad news. I don't like to be the the jerk in the room or the trick in the punch bowl, but I don't really, like, I'm kind of getting sick of being questioned about our numbers when we've looked at everything. Like, there is not a stone that we have not turned over and haven't looked at.
I'm not saying we didn't.
But my point is, if there were no more offsets and more available revenue, we would do it. We would recommend it. We would ask the superintendent and the school committee to vote on it. But what I'm giving you is our best thinking of where we're at. And there's no magical, potion out there that's gonna solve this.
Okay.
And the difficult decisions are having to happen. And the superintendent and the team are making them. It's not popular, I fully recognize that, but it's not unique to Southern Berkshire.
So you are estimating roll aid and everything into the budget?
The question I have out there is how do you want us to focus on the House and the Senate budget? And the answer that the superintendent said like 10 minutes ago, I want as conservative as possible just to make sure that if the conference committee comes out in favorable fashion, he can restore, the school committee can restore positions and other cuts that have happened. And that is the operation we're under. We do not make budgetary decisions. We recommend areas and we show options, but the educational decision is on the school committee and the superintendent.
Okay. Thank you, TJ.
I have given you
Appreciate
the
your time.
best that I can offer for 25 years in this business.
Okay, thank you, TJ. So what I would like to do then, let's talk about what we want to hold for E&D of that.
Just call it unforeseen.
The unforeseen circumstances. It was recommended at 150 to 200,000. My personal opinion would be the 150. Because we know some of that I'm thinking about the 80,000 from capital that will go into operating. Gee, maybe something will happen at the federal level and prices will come down. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion, but I'd like to hear we going. Oh, Nancy.
I move that we consider the worst case scenarios needs at $150,000.
Second that.
Okay, so a motion is made by Nancy, seconded by Jim, that we hold 150,000 of E&D for unforeseen circumstances. Amy?
Is this starting from zero, or are we adding to an amount that's already
Good question. So
there?
we'll hopefully do E&D in a more timely manner as we go forward. But that will be ultimately what, right,
So-
you'll be starting from there.
And then the second part B is to anyone. What is a generally good amount to have in this area?
I don't know. In past practice, you might spend 2/3 of your E&D? Between
We have
half
to
and
turn-
2/3? I don't know. What longer
We have to
term?
turn money back to the towns because we had too much.
Right. I was just gonna say, so it's better, we use some, we wanna make sure we do have enough for unforeseen circumstances, but on the other hand, it's the towns, it's our taxpayers' money. That, we're just taking, it's rolling from one to the next. We would be applying it. It's a matter of, in a better year, I would have said, how about 200? This year, I think we want to go hold for 150. It's a gamble, but somewhere we have to do that. Miguel?
I would wonder if we should even go to 100. I mean, I think I've heard from a lot of community members that this is the rainy day. This is happening now.
Okay.
That we need to make even more efforts to save even more teachers. And I realize it's a by the skin of our teeth savings, but if the typical usage is 2/3, I think it's worth a little bit of a risk to save some more positions.
Okay, let's just see. I see Carl's hand and Bonnie's hand. Carl?
So let's say that we decide on by motion, we approve $150,000 kept as the towns would call it, free cash. And what happens, because we're all trying to guess about the future, let's say that the cost of heating fuel goes from $100 to $200 a barrel, and we have kept $150,000 in E&D, and that rise in the cost of fuel and other unforeseen circumstances, that's why we call them unforeseen circumstances, because we don't know what they will be, becomes $300,000. Where does that extra $150,000 come from?
We'd have to go back and ask the towns.
Well, I mean, right from the get-go, though, with our capital, it was proposed
Oh, that's a good point. I see what you're saying.
that
Yeah.
$80,000 of capital be moved into operating for fuel.
What is
For
it?
example.
Yeah, okay.
That
I'm
was
sorry.
something that was proposed,
to us by our
that Dr.
fuel
Ricca
company.
talked
Yeah.
about earlier
Yeah,
in terms of shifting. You know, Art made the suggestion, maybe we don't do all of our capital. And so that's when Dr. Ricca asked Ed Bramers and asked Chris Thompson, hey, what can we defer for a year? And it was 100,000, half between building and technology, and we just, and another 80. So really, you know, we're gonna, our capital will be 45% of where we started or something like that. We'll use less than half of capital. So really if we're holding 150, okay, and we're putting in, we know we gotta hold something for fuel, that is sort of playing. The other strategy is that because we're building a conservative budget, okay, maybe rural aid will be more, maybe something else will be more, that will be there. It will be a strategic decision. Will we bring in even more positions or not? You know, all of a sudden it goes to $300 a barrel or something overnight. Then maybe that would impact, but at least that strategy would give us more. It might not be as timely as potential other callbacks, but yet it might still help us restore with that.
So I just want to follow up on that. So I assume that this amount that is proposed has been floated to someone or people who have expertise in this area. That is, has someone said to us, meaning the administration, because no one said it to us, the school committee, as of now, that's a prudent course to follow, or is not a prudent course to follow, based on history, that the towns won't be happy if we have to go back to them and say, we need another 300 or 400,000.
Well, no, I mean, I think even about last year, right? There was $1 million in E&D, and the former superintendent used 800,000. That's 4/5, right? So I mean, it's past practice. I mean, this is just erring on a little higher rather than a little bit lower.
That wasn't my question, though.
Oh.
My question was, has anybody gotten the opinion of somebody who has expertise in these matters? And there certainly are those people in existence, that this is a prudent course to follow.
Well, I mean, I wonder when TJ,
The answer to my question is either yes or no.
Well,
Someone has been consulted or they haven't been consulted.
I looked at what happened last year and the recommendations.
So the answer,
I guess the
is it fair to say the answer is no?
Sure.
I guess not, except that it's past practice.
That's all I asked.
You know, school committee practice of past budgets. That's what was consulted, past documentation.
Okay.
Not a single person.
Or multiple people. In other words, the answer, that hasn't been presented to someone in an answer returned.
Not as a third-party person. Okay. Other, Bonnie, yes, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
That was TJ.
I want to comment just from a perspective of school districts and having a reserve and capital account. Usually, roughly 3% that you want to have in your back pocket to cover unforeseen circumstances. And I can do the math real quick for your budget, but.
That's
generally speaking-
$600,000.
That's $600,000, yes?
Yeah, but
Yes,
if you have 200 or 300, and somebody mentioned in the public speak out about if something unforeseen truly comes forward, then we need to have a different conversation, and I recognize that. And I know that, and it's real. Capital needs may come up. Fuel needs are real. Like the $80,000 more than they thought about is coming from the utilities companies saying, hey, we don't know the volatility of gas and oil and all that stuff is something we need to like hedge for. And so that all these conversations need to happen. But if you have something in reserve, at least you can be like, all right, I can deal with a small crisis or a small issue. And if you have a bigger one, it's a larger conversation for the towns to be like, all right, what are we doing? And that's not in the towns, I'm not even suggesting that whatsoever, but it's a conversation that can be had if and when. And the question is if and when. You're trying to keep teaching positions, you're trying to keep your educational system in the way that Southern Berkshire wants it, and they expect it, and the residents and the taxpayers and the parents and the students and everybody, I mean, I've heard all of it. You're trying to do the best you can with what you have, and I can't, like, yes, you want something. You want something in reserve and available. Do you need it all? No. Do you need to deal with it if something comes up? Yes.
All right,
So I urge the committee to recognize that a small amount of money is what is probably recommended from us budget finance folks, but it's not going to solve everything if everything goes south.
Okay.
And I think your facilities are in good shape, and I think you're in good shape, but I don't know if AC is going to go and the entire HVAC system needs to be replaced.
Okay, thank you, TJ. Bonnie and Kim, and then we need to move along.
I would say, I'm always really conservative in terms of E&D. I don't want to be turning back to the towns and say we made a mistake. I'm assuming nobody there's no money for a new marshmallow bus. And one of them definitely should have been replaced by now based on the rotation that we had established. There are a number of things that when you act conservatively, you could be putting the district in a position where we're not going to have the money, and I don't want to go to the towns with handout. And I think we have to be very proactive in terms of asking our legislature to give us some pothole money. There's money there, and we have not been politically active. And I think we need to start with our friends, Mr. Mark and Lee Davis, and get to it right away. There's money there. And at the meeting I went to last night, it was clear that a lot of districts are getting that money, the state's free cash.
Okay.
I am not happy with only having $150,000 there, but I am believing that we're going to come up with some more money in what we will be getting in the next few weeks.
Okay. Kim, comment?
I have a question. It's about the budget and maybe money that could be appropriated in a different position. Why is business and finance up $158,948? So,
what number, what?
It would be
What line number?
business and finance. 1410, it says 301,513. And it's an increase of $158,948. And I'm trying to figure out, we have a business administrator, and then we have another salary line for an assistant professional business administrator. So salaries business office assistant. What is salaries business office assistant?
I would have to look, I'm not 100% sure, I'm sorry.
Business office assistant.
This would be the email
I
I
mean,
sent to you guys. Sorry.
No, I read the email.
Which line?
And I just thought,
Excuse me now. Take this since February. Please understand our frustration. So this line, in last year's budget, and TJ, you correct me if I'm wrong, there was minus $10,000 in one of our line items. And so that's one of the reasons. And then the business assistant is the person, our payroll, not our payroll, half of our payroll comes out of that line, the person who does that, and then the person who does the accounts receivable is the business manager assistant. That's what it's coded. That doesn't necessarily, we don't have a business manager assistant, but that's
Okay.
how it's coded.
that's
And
what I
then-
thought it was. I was just making sure.
Okay. And then, there was nothing put in for a business manager last year, so that is also causing the increase.
Well, no, I knew about that. But we also have a
Sarah,
decrease.
can I, Sarah or Madam?
Yeah,
Jeffrey,
TJ, you want to clarify, please?
So the amount was under appropriated for your former business consultant, and now you have us for now. We have zeroed out our consultant contract, and you have a business manager coming on board, pending negotiations.
Right.
So it was underfunded, so it looks like it's way off, and it's just a matter of making sure, like, I don't know if you have it or you've seen it, but your chart of accounts and your budget is all over the place as it relates to where money's being paid out of. And so you have negative accounts and you have positive accounts. You're gonna land, in my mind, fine overall, but just speaking from how the budget is set up, you're not paying out of the right accounts. We, OA, has been asked to approve requisitions and invoices that don't have money behind them. I personally and professionally don't like it. We've done it with the understanding that the superintendent and his team are willing to do the transfers to make the money whole. Now you have all the way through period 13 adjustments. And period 13 is basically August and September to clean up the books and get it to your external auditors. I think your external auditors are probably on site right now going through stuff in general. So we are doing our best to hand off a clean bill to the new business manager, and ultimately, you know, as we wrap this up on June 30th, we're going to try to do it the best we can. And it has been such a mess, and I don't mean to belittle it, I don't mean to expand upon it, whatever, like, you're not paying bills out of the right accounts based upon what you're paying for. And I can't say that any more plainly.
Thank you.
And you may think I'm not, you may think I'm a jerk or an ass, but sorry for that. But like, I have to tell you plainly, like, we gotta clean this up.
You're
And
gone the
I'm not
30th?
doing you any favors if I don't tell you where the pitfalls are.
Okay.
He's gone on the 30th?
No.
He just said he cleaned it up by the 30th, so what's so magic about the 30th?
Okay, that's not,
That's the
that's not
end.
relevant for this discussion.
June 30th is the end of their contract, yes. Yeah, that, I
So
mean,
we are not
that's the end of
renewing
their contract.
You're not renewing?
contract. So you have your new person starting, who has been offered and entertaining a negotiation, whatever. We are stepping back, but we want to clean the books up to the point where everything is clean.
Very good.
And it's been nothing but like messy.
Okay, thank you, TJ. Let's get back to
Sorry.
the E
Sorry, Madam
and D
Chair.
set aside. No problem. TJ, Carl.
I have a point of order, Madam Chair. A motion was made to call the question,
No.
That
No,
motion?
no, it was not on this one.
Not on this one.
Not on this
It has
one.
not been made on this one.
Oh, I'm operating on a half-hour
Would you like
time
to
lag.
make a motion?
Would you like to make that motion?
Would you like to make a motion to call the question?
Please call the question.
I don't even know what the question is, but sure, yeah.
150,000 for, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That was
okay.
Nancy's motion.
Yeah, I'm operating on a time lag here.
The current motion is that we would set aside 150,000 of E&D for unforeseen
Yeah, let's get to it. I move, I call the
You call the
question.
question. You want to second that? Motion's been made to call the question. Very good. Let's vote on calling the question. Nancy, you're smiling. Okay. Bonnie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel?
I'm going to say no just because I think it should be lower, but that's me.
You think what?
I'm going to say no just because I think it should be lower.
Oh, okay.
But
Amy?
that's,
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Kim?
Abstain.
Abstain. Art?
No.
Calling the question.
All right, we got no.
I think
we
they
got
want more discussion.
abstains. And Nancy was a yes, I am a yes, there's 9 minus 3, so it passes 6-3.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we will hold 150. So.
No, we have to
No, oh yeah, let's.
That called the question.
Yes, all right, let's vote, let's vote on the actual motion of saving the 150,000 for unforeseen circumstances. Nancy?
Yes.
Bonnie?
No.
Jim?
Yes.
Yes. Miguel?
no.
Amy?
No.
Carl?
No, I think it's irresponsible.
Kim?
No.
No. Art?
No.
No. Julie, I would say yes, since I made that suggestion. All right, that motion failed. So what amount do we wish to hold for E&D for unforeseen
May I make one point?
circumstances?
I would urge us to please make a decision soon. We have a celebration of learning and folks who are going to determine whether or not we continue to get funding from Transcend waiting for us in the cafeteria, which has been on our books since well before this budget meeting was set. I would urge the committee to please be as efficient as possible in making this decision so that we can get to, as a whole community that supports the teaching and learning here, the cafeteria.
I make a motion that we limit the reserve funds to $100,000.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded that we limit E&D unforeseen circumstances to $100,000. Has been made and seconded. Discussion. I hear no discussion, therefore we will vote. Did you have?
Yeah, ramifications of doing 100,000.
Ramifications?
There is.
Feels low to me.
Just because what E&D is only going to be replenished. It's 5%. How is it going to get replenished? If we're going into a tight budget next year,
Yeah, exactly.
how can we replenish it in case of emergency? It's not that I don't want to save staff, I really do want to save staff, but I think there's other areas that we need to look at, because even though it sounds like a great idea, we have to have excess in next year's budget in order to replenish it. And right now, we don't. So that 100,000 is not going to ever increase if we don't get budgets with excess, because that's what E&D is.
Okay.
And it's, like I said, there should be other ways to save these people's jobs, because $50,000 is not going to save 1.5 million of jobs, you know.
I just have a question. Are we able to increase it later if there are surpluses found at another point? Or is this the final decision on E&D, or are we able to increase it later?
Surplus would have to be done after next year's budget is spent. So what it is, say if all the 5 towns pay in revenue, and we did not spend what we budgeted, then the revenue from that
Goes
goes
back.
into our E&D, and we start building our accounts back up.
Yeah.
So, in theory, I would love to throw everything at it, but we have to make sure that we have something there, because if next year and the year after that, we're spending exactly our budget, we don't have any.
So with 200,000, I mean, we have numbers here, and I think it's important that we do make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, it was 100 to 150 to 200. was
I would
what
say
was-
2 minimum, and it's not that I don't, like, again, I think everybody should be reinstated, but I'd rather take a higher assessment in the town than throw away something that could eventually hurt us.
All right, very good.
May I also
Superintendent.
remind folks, whatever dollar amount that you settle on, that then gets recommended to the leadership team to reinstate positions, that pot of money, to Ms. Alcantar's point, will not be there next year. So let's say, for the sake of argument, I'm just using round numbers, a low round number. Let's say $200,000 comes back to the leadership team, the school committee says, please hire enough positions based on those $200,000. That money is not in the budget for however many positions get into next year's budget, unless, because this is one-time funds, unless, Ms. Alcantar's point, it gets built up in E&D at the end of the year. Because you're not collecting, this is my point, you're not collecting additional revenue. You are using one-time offsets. Last year was to the tune of $2 million, because my elevator pitch to folks has been, the difference in salaries from last year, or this current year to next year, is only $200,000. We're going from 10.5 million for human salaries to 10.7 million for human salaries. But last year, that 10.5 looked like 8.6 on the general fund because of all the offsets. So this year, the gap is 8.6 to 10.7. That's the $2.1 million gap. So any money that you choose here tonight is one-time money that we're not collecting from towns in terms of assessments. It is a stopgap measure. So that's why I will again refer back to what Mr. Fish said. When this budget is passed, it has to be the immediate work of this body to figure a way to make this school district sustainable. And using offsets year after year after year will not be sustainable, as we're finding out tonight.
Okay, so there's Bonnie, sorry?
So, a couple of things. One, whatever we say we want for E&D tonight, but, you know, it's not going to be the 600,000, which is along the guideline of 3%. That money will be all that will be in E&D, and then will have to be certified during the next academic year.
It'll be part of it.
And what will be left for rehiring is what we will look at. However, I still believe in going over this budget, there are other things that could be altered or cut. And I know you don't want to hear that, Brian. But there are things there that have been brought up as questions from the community that we haven't seen as a full school committee. I know right now we're only dealing with E&D.
Right. Well, I mean, I offer, you know, send the line items suggestions.
Question on Miguel's
She's calling the question.
motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second.
Nancy's calling the question on Miguel's vote, and that
We're
is
in
now,
circles, and we haven't addressed the 100,000 that people clearly aren't interested in, so.
okay, all right,
Well,
so.
I would actually like to,
Staff members who need to get to.
Yeah, it's just-
Yeah, we do.
I would like to amend the motion to 200,000 to get the matter done
Well, it
and try and move on, because I think this is something that needs to be moved on.
does need to be moved on, but the question was called and seconded, so that's kind of our
Alright.
process. So we're
Okay.
calling the question. Bonnie? This is calling the question on the
Yes,
100,000. Jim? You're calling the question on 100,000.
We're calling the question.
Calling the question.
just on calling
We're not
the question.
voting it, we're calling the,
Yes.
yes. Miguel?
Yes.
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 Amy? Carl?
Yes.
Yes. Kim?
Yes.
Art? Yes. Nancy? Yes, yes, and Julie, yes. Okay, Miguel, you want to make a new motion?
No, we have to vote on the
I
motion.
just keep trying to do it. All right, we're voting on 100,000. Bonnie?
No.
Jim?
No.
Miguel?
I will say yes.
Amy?
No.
Carl?
No.
Kim?
No.
Art? No. Nancy? No. Julie? No, we will not. Okay, that is too conservative. All right, we can, Kim?
I'd like to make a motion that we table this so we have time to actually have a serious, informed discussion instead of rushing through this because people have to get to transcend. Because this,
I second that motion.
I'm sorry, you made the motion, and did you second that motion?
Yes.
Okay, discussion.
We are running out of time. This has been a conversation that has been happening since February. You have punted twice. You have asked this leadership team and Open Architects to build 5 budgets. You heard TJ. There is no more money. We are going to, I recommend that we get to adoption on Wednesday, give our towns a chance to vote, or we're going to start with a 1/12 budget, which means more reductions than what I put here. In this opportunity, we have a chance to put more back in.
Wait, I just want to be, my understanding is a 1/12 budget does not cause you to put more people, to RIF more people. That a 1/12 budget takes us to the beginning of 26's budget. It may mean that we're on it for 1 month. You don't have to be on it for 12 months. If we don't have all of the information, the responsible thing may be, as much as I don't like it.
You know.
Okay, wait, Amy?
So,
And then Jim.
right now, the only thing that we need to do left here is decide on how much money to put in the unforeseen circumstances account, so that whatever money is left, we can hopefully direct Dr. Ricka to reinstate staff. And then that's it, and then we're done.
I
In
move
terms
that we
of-
put 200,000 in it.
Hold on.
I thought I made a motion.
Yeah, we already have one.
There's already a motion
Motion on
on
the
the
table.
floor, yeah, to be able
To delay.
to delay.
You wanted to
Nancy
delay
has
it.
called the question.
Is there a second to call on the
Second,
question?
What's the motion we're
It's to
voting on?
delay.
Delay.
The motion is to delay. We're calling
Okay.
the question on a motion to, okay, so we're calling the
if
question.
we have all the information here, as you so said,
We're calling the question.
may I finish?
We've
No,
called the
calling the
question,
question.
We called
discussion
the
stops.
question.
We called the question, discussion stops. Okay, we're calling the question on whether we delay this decision. Bonnie?
No.
Jim?
No.
Miguel?
No.
Amy?
We're calling the question.
I mean, yes, so we
Calling
are,
the question.
Wait,
We're calling
wait, wait.
Say no, there was
You
still.
don't want to call,
Okay.
you don't want to
Right.
call?
We want to
Correct.
call it.
I do
we
not
want
You
to-
want to call the question?
Yes.
Yes?
yes.
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 Yes. Carl?
Yes.
Kim?
No.
No.
Did you say yes or no?
No.
Okay, wait a minute, I
Did
lost
you get
track.
Nancy?
Nancy? Yes, and Julie's yes, but I don't know,
I was a no.
3 no's.
And 3 no's.
and 3 no's. Carl, were you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is passing.
6 to 3.
6 to 3.
No,
Now-
we're voting.
Now we vote
Now we're gonna vote
delay.
to delay.
Gonna vote for what?
To
Delay
delay
this
the,
entire
To
thing.
This
delay the
question.
whole decision.
So
Unforeseen
my point was
circumstances
about the
savings.
delay, is we could go over it more thoroughly. It wouldn't be the first time that we sat there and discussed something and passed it right afterwards in our history, so that we have more information on what to spend for E&D, or where we can cut some things. Because
I'd like to call the question,
We just did that. I thought we
then
supposed
why
to-
are we still talking?
Yes.
Well,
I thought-
because we actually have to vote on whether we're gonna delay. So Kim's making her pitch of why we should delay, which I understand, yes.
I just think we're rushing to get to somewhere where people might have questions. From Thursday to Tuesday is not a huge delay.
We were going Thursday to
Well,
Wednesday.
Thursday to Wednesday,
And we're running
we're
out of
hoping-
time.
We would like to see a full, proper budget presented, and if we wait to delay, we would not have those numbers properly calculated. That would be the issue. That's my response. Bonnie?
Just point of order.
Jim?
Point of order. So what this, the whole discussion is if we're gonna have 150,000 in a line item for,
No,
for-
we voted down the 150,000. Right now, the motion on the floor is whether we will delay determining an amount for holding for E&D.
until when?
Well, Kim is suggesting next week.
I'm suggesting at the same time that we do our budget.
And what more information will we have about the
I don't know.
150,000 that we don't have now?
Probably very little, but it's
Yeah,
hard
what
to
can you
say.
project? What
Probably not.
additional
Okay.
information?
There's nothing else. We know that.
There's
Bonnie.
nothing else.
Yeah.
So now, wait.
Okay.
No, I'm waiting.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Jim.
No, I just
Go ahead.
wanted to know where we were, so go ahead, you next.
So, Brian, you've lived this.
I have.
Every minute, there's a lot that a good number of people on the school committee have not had information on. And I know that TJ and others have tried to get our budget, all these items correctly, but I'm seeing some things for the very first time as being in there. They were here before, but he just moved it. So you understand every last bit of it.
That far, but I think I've got a really good grasp on it.
I look at it and being responsible as a school committee member and say, well, wait a second, I don't know, maybe you could take half of this out of here.
But might I offer that it is an operational task to present the budget. It is not a school committee task to say, oh, you should do this portion instead of this portion. We've done the work. An external third party has validated the work. I would be at a loss for a further delay because we've delayed beyond what would normally be happening. We should be having the results of votes by now and moving on. And I would also offer, that means delaying, returning to adults and saying, we are going to reinstate your position. Please feel welcome to apply for it.
We're gonna do that today.
You would be well, then you would not be voting to delay. If you're voting to delay, I can't go back to people before next Wednesday and say the school committee has turned over to the leadership team X number of hundreds of thousands of dollars. On Monday and Tuesday, the leadership team will meet and determine, based on those factors, schedule, district priorities, and a robust educational program, what positions will go back in. If we delay until you adopt on Wednesday, that delays those conversations for all of those people.
So that in the interim, I should.
Hold on one second. So TJ had his hand up and Nancy also.
I did have my hand up, but I'm good if you guys are good. I just want to talk about a 112 budget, the practicality of it.
Oh.
Okay, so can I first get the rest of, in the interim, the questions I've been getting from people in various communities as well as from staff, I should send all of them to you and you can
Please,
tell me where it is.
I have responded to every email to a fault, where I even responded to one that just went to the school committee by mistake. Every person who has emailed or called me has gotten back.
I'm gonna send you all of it.
Please do.
Let's stay focused, please.
Can we please
We are focused.
Yes. So,
This is completely inappropriate.
Yeah, we need to stay focused on that. To that end, TJ, can you briefly make a statement about 112th practicality?
I'll keep it real brief, just because, going to 112 is an operational, problem that just makes it a chaos, but Mass General Law, Chapter 71, Section 16B, lets 112 budgets happen while you're trying to work out your regional assessments, while you're trying to work out whatever the agreements are with the communities and the assessment methodologies. But generally speaking, you're doing level funded at the current rate, at the current salaries and everything else, and then once you satisfy and figure out the rest of the budget, you know, say it's in whatever, August or July or August or September, but and December 1st, DESE can come in if you don't have a budget fully set. DESE can come in and take over the district. And I don't mean to be an alarmist. I'm just trying to say the functional realities of a 112 budget are such a pain that we have to think about this and what it means when you come to terms on a budget. What does it mean for the collective bargaining agreements? What does it mean for the teachers? What does it mean for the paras? What does it mean for all the different positions? All that needs to be factored into your decision now. And it's not fun. It's doable. We're 2.5 hours in, and like we haven't gotten there yet. But I just want the school committee to know that that is what this looks like.
Thank you.
And Nancy, I see your hand up.
Yeah, Nancy, I see your hand up. I see Carl, I see Jim.
So we're still voting on whether or not to table the question.
Yes, we are. So I think we need to do
Well,
that.
I think that we need to call the questions.
We did already.
Which we did already and got totally derailed. So we're voting on the motion to table the E&D discussion at this time.
So yes equals table it, no equals continue and get a number.
Right, right. Yes, that's what it means.
I have a question for...
Point of order, well, we're
No.
trying to follow, we had the question called and got derailed, and is it directly pertinent, Carl?
I think it is.
Please,
Um,
quickly.
If I understand Dr. Ricker's sort of last comment correctly, he thinks that a delay till Wednesday would, I think he's right about this, would delay any action on the RIFT staff.
Correct.
That's right.
That's correct.
And he doesn't want there to be the delay between Thursday, May 28th and Wednesday, June 3rd.
Correct.
Which implies that he intends to take action. He would like to take
please.
action on the RIFT staff before the meeting scheduled for next Wednesday.
Right there.
Tomorrow.
Right there. Right there.
He and his team will remember that. Yes.
Okay, then I have a suggestion.
Okay, we still have to vote.
Okay, yeah, just a suggestion. That if that happens, if communications with the RIFT staff takes place, not only between now and next Wednesday, but at any time, can it please not be done by email?
Or in front of children.
And during the day,
Or in front of children.
It was, I mean...
and not during the day, and not in front of children.
That decision...
And now we do need to vote.
By the way, committee member Worthington is not, she complained that we're here 2.5 hours. She's free to leave. She's not handcuffed to where she is.
It's not the only issue.
Carl, that's not the issue.
Excuse me,
The question was.
completely inappropriate, and it is not acceptable. I am just as, quote,
Okay.
shackled as you are.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hold it, folks.
You're welcome.
Hold it.
Look at the back of my t-shirt.
The question has been called. We are going to vote whether we will delay
Yes.
identifying a number.
Yes
So
to
if you
delay.
vote yes, we delay. If you vote no, we will not delay. And that's what we're going to do now. Bonnie?
No.
No.
No. Amy?
No.
Carl?
No.
Kim?
Yes, that was my motion.
Right.
You want to delay?
It was my motion, I kind of.
Well, are you voting yes?
Yes.
Art?
No.
Nancy? No. Julie, no. Okay, 8-1, we will not delay.
Do you want to make your $200,000 motion now?
I would like to entertain one last motion for a potential number that might float.
I move that we do E&D at $225,000.
Second. Did you say 225?
She did.
She said 225.
200.
200? Okay.
Do I hear 200?
Yeah, well, I didn't hear you the first time, Bonnie. What'd you say? 200? Good, okay. And
I second
Miguel?
200.
Thank you. Okay, a motion has been made and seconded that we set our E&D for 200,000 for unforeseen circumstance. I feel as if we have debated to death on all of this, but I need to ask for discussion for protocol.
Call the question.
The question, Bonnie has called the question. Nancy, are you seconded that?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh my God. Okay, we're calling the question. Bonnie?
Yes.
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 Yes. Carl?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Yep.
Art, yes. Nancy, yes. Julie, yes. All right, we've been called. Now we are voting on saving 200,000 for E&D.
Yes.
Bonnie? Jim?
Yes.
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jamie? Carl?
No.
Carl is a no. Okay. Kim?
Yes.
Yes. Art?
Yep.
Yes. Nancy?
Yes.
And Julie is a yes. Thank you, folks. We have made those parameters. Dr. Ricker, you have enough information
Thank you.
now
Yes.
to go good.
Art has-
Thank you very, very much. Art, question.
So how much money do we have?
So that with the 662,275 minus $200,000 for unforeseen circumstances means
440.
462,275.
Okay.
So, to be clear, what I will be doing is asking Open Architects to present a budget that includes that back in the salary lines. We will discuss as a leadership team what those positions are, and we will have those conversations appropriately per Mr. Stewart's recommendation with the impacted folks.
Will they know tomorrow?
No, because we'll need to meet as
Tuesday,
a leadership
They have to-
team.
the leadership team
The
will have
leadership
to
team has to meet
prioritize.
and prioritize.
Yeah, I
what-
thought they would do that tomorrow.
Monday.
Well, the
Oh, the
team is going
team.
to start meeting, but we're going to probably have the conversations next week. But to be clear, that's what the budget will be. There will be an additional $462,000 in operations in salary lines.
Can you send out a note to all of those people who received a RIF notice that the school committee has asked you to restore?
I will work with the association on how to do that best.
Right, and so that they know what that means.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess Transcend's happening.
Sarah?
Can I just please make a, like,
Please.
if you're leaving, please stop in our cafeteria. Our students and our educators have presentations that we planned months ago. There's food, we have our Transcend partner here. Some of our folks have music that they've created. So please, if you're leaving, please stop.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay. Given the time, given the need to support our Transcend partnership, I'm suspending the second public comment since we had the first public comment. In that interest of time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
There's a second.
Bonnie and Jim. Bonnie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Miguel? Amy?
Yes, yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Kim? Art? We're adjourning? Yes. Nancy? Yes. Julie? Yes. We're adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you.